He's here. Let's see. Trey is Trey coming today? Did anybody hear?
I spoke with him on Sunday. Said he was gonna be.
Okay. Who else we missing? We missing anybody else on the planning? Oh, okay. All right. That'll work. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and go into roll call.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Divatario.
Present.
Councilman Wells. Councilman Leon.
Present.
All right. This evening we're here from for mobile home requests for variances and approvals. We decided a while back to try to get together and have a meeting tonight with the City Council, Planning and Zoning Board, and the City Administration to try to look at some things and see where the city wants to go from here on some of the discussions on mobile homes being allowed or not allowed, expanding the use or not. So we have our, okay, we got to go to prayer. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm skipping to the point trying to get out of here. So prayer, let's stand up for prayer. Ron or Bobby, one of y'all want to lead us?
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come together to discuss the business of the city. Touch us in our minds through the council, zoning board, administration, and the public, Lord God. We might come to a medium that would be best for suitable for citizens of Hammond. We thank you for all things. Bless us to keep this as cordial as possible. We may agree on the things that's best for the entire city of Hammond. Bless you and pray for all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going into the pledge now, Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Pledge allegiance. All right, we can go to roll call now, so let's go ahead. Oh, we already did everything? Okay, good. All right, that's right. Let's see, so here we are for the review and discussion. So does planning and zoning, who's the chairman, Colin? Do you have any information that you want to share at this time right now?
Any information? I wouldn't say information, but I do have a question. Yeah, I do have a question for the council as far as, so we kind of work in conjunction with you. So we're appointed, the mayor appoints us, we, take on that, and you're elected and things of that nature. So we try to, balance it out. So my question is, what exactly do you want from us? What are y'all not understanding what we're doing when we're going into our work sessions and meetings and things of that nature? Or what's like what's the problem we want? What is the solution we are looking for, you are looking for from us?
Well, I just want to say a couple things, and all other council women and men can say what they need to say. One thing, the email I sent, I think Friday, it might have been to everyone. Did we get any information on some of those stats that was sent in here? Okay, good. I hadn't seen them yet, but anyway, I think some of the issues came about when we were up here. It seemed like it started becoming a pretty regular variance request for mobile homes throughout the city. And before our time, obviously, they had some more regulations on mobile homes being allowed in the city or not allowed, and it seemed like it started becoming a common request for variances for hardships that may or may not have been truly hardships or not, or if we need to expand some of the areas that they're in, or where the mood of the city was going as far as did we want to expand mobile homes throughout the city? Did we not? The concerns were, if we continue expanding and giving variances throughout the city spotted, then it's going to continue to grow the footprint of mobile homes. So I think that was some of the issues, and seeing if we needed to relook at the maps of where they're allowed, where they're not allowed, and if where we were going with them. So any other councilmen or women, they're more than welcome to say.
I guess it might be helpful to start to discuss how mobile homes are allowed. I previously recall someone at one point saying, you know, they tried to not have mobile homes. And then, Andre, if you could help us with this, I heard the city could not say no mobile homes. It had to do with the fair housing. And so there is a proposed mobile home area, but you still couldn't automatically just get a permit for a mobile home. You still had to come in and get a conditional use because we were still regulating them so much. And so I guess that's a multi-step question, but one of them was previously, did they try to take out mobile homes across the city? And is that why we're now stuck in this expanded conditional use system we seem to be finding ourselves in?
I might not be the best to answer that question, other than the UDC, which does allow mobile homes only in areas zoned RS 11-1. RS 11A. Sorry, except if you're in one of these special overlay districts, which, because of the nature of the overlay district or a specific provision like the Iowa district, which doesn't allow mobile
Right.
homes. So there are just minimal areas in terms of the UDC, but I'm understanding that there was an effort to identify other places which may be appropriate for mobile homes. For whatever reason, I was not in that designation. So when things come before the zoning or the council, it's typically as an expanded conditional use, which is just a limitation on that property and allowing a mobile home to be placed in that location with restrictions as typically come up, only applies to the owner and doesn't, land transfers and those sorts of things. So that's what I can tell you in terms of what the UDC says in terms of mobile homes. Now, the fair housing is a big discussion, big topic, which would say, for example, extreme hypothetical, the city couldn't say you can only build single-family homes of 4,000 square feet or more, because that would limit and restrict the ability of folks to afford homes. But that's a big picture question, really. But there is some overlay there, but I don't think it applies to the city because we do have instances of allowing mobile homes.
So the proposed mobile home areas, which I think this is what this map is, I thought I recall having a mobile home from planning and zoning come to us for approval, and it was in a proposed mobile home area. So if that were the case, why are we still approving them that way?
Because they've never been formally adopted.
Okay.
So what you have in your map section, so you have several things in your packet. We were asked to provide some of these. Some of this is stuff that we've been working for since the meeting was first established. If we had started on Friday, there's no way we could have created this. But so first what you have is every instance in the UDC where the word mobile home, modular home, manufactured home appears. It includes both the section 3.4, which has the most description about our mobile home rules and regulations, and then it also includes the definitions, because I think those are important to interpreting the UDC throughout, and we rely on those pretty heavily. The second major section of your packet is maps. Unfortunately, our GIS is not the most color-friendly right now in terms of maps, so what you have is the darker brown shaded areas are the proposed mobile home areas. The one that looks kind of yellowish green, which is a much smaller space here and there, are the actual where mobile home parks are located.
So, hold on one second, Natalie, slow down a little bit. All right, so you were saying the last thing you said was the one shaded with, like, I guess, some greenish or yellowish
Yellowish
looking.
green area,
Those are mobile home parks?
those are existing mobile home parks.
Okay, and then the other lines with the regular shade lines, those are the ones that are, mobile homes are allowed currently?
No, those
Okay.
are proposed mobile home areas.
Okay,
And that is what I think the council over the years, this has not been just this council, the prior council had the same kind of dilemma. They never came to an understanding and an actual agreement about what they wanted as the mobile home areas. So that's why we call these proposed mobile home areas. And that's why we come to you with that statement about whether the mobile home that's being proposed is in one of those areas, or whether it's adjacent to one of those areas, or whether it's totally out of those areas as a whole. Bobby Mitchell and John Dardis were part of the beginning plans of all of this, and Bobby may have more information, kind of the history about how they identified them, what they looked at, kind of what aspects they looked at, and maybe some of these same questions that we've struggled with here presently have been going on for many years now. So this has never been adopted. That's why we use the term proposed mobile home areas. There are 3 packets of photos, and what we tried to do was either Google walk them, so some of these are Google images from 2019 and present-day images combined for each of the 3 districts where mobile homes are located. So this is kind of a current survey. I guarantee you we have missed 1 or 2 or thrown in something by accident, so, but we're going to make this more finite and refined. This is just the best we could do in such short time of 30 days trying to put this all together. So these are all, and your photo packets are front and back. It just gives you a good idea, I think a snapshot of what the current mobile home inventory looks like, where, you know, because sometimes you might drive past one and go, oh, I didn't realize that was a mobile home. And sometimes you might drive past it and go, that's definitely a mobile home, or that's a mobile home that was placed many years ago versus one that's newer. Some of them have build-outs in terms of porches and overhangs and garage and carports and those kinds of things. Others are just the regular mobile home. Some have skirting, some are newer and don't have that installed yet. The other reports you'll find towards the end of the packet, the first thing that's on the 8.5 by 14, the legal size, actually came from Dana Brown. We reached out to Dana Brown, who was one of the authors of the Unified Development Code and also helped us with our master plan way back, but really worked on the Unified Development Code, and just asked her what some other areas are doing. So this we will email out, because she did links on the far side there to what other people have adopted as their mobile home rules, their areas, all those kinds of things, and that might be helpful to see. She also gave us a population breakdown there too, looking at places that were similarly sized to us. After that, you'll see a mobile home permits issued for really about the last 5 years. They all fit on one page, so even though it may feel like it's been coming fast and furious, these are ones that could have been in RS11A, and I think actually the majority of these are in RS11A, so they may not have ever come before the planning and zoning, because RS11A is the zoning that allows for mobile homes to be placed. So these are probably in existing mobile home parks or areas, and then some of them are also the ones that have come through both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the council, and that's what you'll find on your last page.
So you said that the RS11A, they don't go to planning and zoning, they just come straight here because they're in that.
They don't even have to come here, they're already approved. That's the zoning that allows, RS11A allows mobile home placements.
Okay, so they're in RS11A, that's not that they're in a proposed mobile home.
Correct.
I got you.
Correct.
Okay.
So if it were in a proposed mobile home area, it might be on this very last report, which is zoning expanded conditional uses. Every time we place a mobile home, it's going to be as an ECU, an expanded conditional use, because it's an extra provision of that lot. And we're only allowing it to be the mobile home. We're not allowing it for anything
So real
else.
quick, you said, okay, so the shaded lines are proposed. Now, the ones that are already zoned for that, what markings on these maps on that?
We did not print out that map. We can
Oh,
we can
okay.
print that and get it to you, or we can look it up on the G.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about, because these are all proposed areas. Just would like to see the footprint of what exactly is in RSA 11, I think it is.
11A.
11A, yeah. Because, I mean, some issues I had on the map with that in my district was that it may have needed to be, we had to get it, some adjustments made a few years ago because they were right in front of maybe a subdivision, the mobile home zoning. So I think maybe some of the maps where the RS11, it may need to be reevaluated to see if that's actually a good placement or good map for those areas for certain parts of the city. So I think that's another issue we may need to look at to see if the zoning for the land use may need to be revisited.
Let me say this. I don't know if my mic working or not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Lacey. The dark brown area, that's shaded dark brown, is proposed area. That area has never been adopted. at all. So one item I think we need to put, may not be able to do it tonight, but an area we need to focus on is whether or not we want to adopt it, modify it, or do something with it to make it official. And by doing that, it alleviates the process of having to go through planning and zoning. That's one of the reasons why we're here.
Yeah.
Secondly, the yellow-greenish is an area for existing mobile home parks. I guess my question is, has that been officially adopted and accepted?
According to the UDC and the list of criteria for placing a mobile home, section 3.4.1, mobile homes, items 1 through 9 describes exactly what the map suggests. Is that if there is an existing location where a mobile home resides anywhere in the city limits of Hammond, that mobile home can be replaced by a proper current mobile home of age, providing it's done within a time frame of 6 months of the previous mobile home being removed. So that's across the board, regardless of what the existing zoning is. You give that owner permission to upgrade or better, if you will, the condition of the home. That was the whole purpose of that being allowed. The second option is that it has to be an existing RS-11A. Now, RS-11A was a transfer, if you look at the zoning map, zoning criteria. It used to be RS, which was considered residential suburban. So that typically are the borders or the corporate limits of recent annexations of the 1990s to 1999. So those were the areas at that time. It was pretty aggressive in applying for mobile homes. And that's why they kept those areas kind of on the perimeter. So it wasn't in the nucleus of the existing neighborhoods like they are now. And so that's why you're having such a fluctuation of requests for expanded conditional uses, because those areas does not allow for mobile home placement. And so this is where it leaves the zoning board recommendation based on that. And we did John Doris and I did the proposed areas based on the number of mobile homes that were existing in those city blocks. And so we took the visual of what was busy in terms of placement of mobile homes, and we tried to keep it in the parameters of those areas. And since then, that has expanded with the expanded conditional uses or rezoning. I think as of late, the request is to do the expanded conditional use as opposed to rezoning the properties. But anyone that has an existing zoning properly zoned, as it is for any permits, if it meets the criteria of that zoning, I'll just review it and approve it in our office without any assistance from the zoning board or the city council, because it meets the criteria by zoning, as long as the year model is correct and the lot size is adequate.
Okay, well, appreciate that. But my concern is we're operating off of an old map that's never been properly vetted or proposed. I think we need to go through a process of vetting and proposing, and each council person have the opportunity to look at that map in their area and say, well, yeah, I agree with it. No, I don't agree with it, or whatever the case may be. Give you a chance to weigh in on that. And secondly, my concern is the ECU. ECU brings about policing. Who's going to police this?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You know, everyone's plate's full, and Lisa read that long statement out every time we do an ECU, but nobody never polices that. I know the permit office they have to put things in place to be able to track it, but once it changed ownership, and we really don't know whether it really is changing ownership properly. So there's another step we have to do. Thirdly, I appreciate the list of areas, towns, but let's talk about one a little closer to us, Mandeville. Mobile homes are not allowed in Mandeville.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Nowhere.
Do they have grandfathered in ones that you know of? No?
I don't know, but I know it's not allowed. City of Covington is not allowed anywhere. They have to go into St. Tammany Parish with mobile homes. So to answer that question about can they, I don't know whether the laws or whatever, that's something we can legally look at if we get to that point. But there are multiple areas where mobile homes are not even allowed. So that's another topic. My concern tonight, from my perspective, from planning and zoning, is we're receiving these requests, and they come in, quite frequently, and they come in the form of a variance. That concerns me, because a variance is a hardship.
Right.
Hardship dealing with how that piece of property may lay, maybe a little funny shaped piece of property, whatever the case may be, and it's creating a hardship for a person, individual. That's what the variance is for. A variance is not for if a person goes by as a piece of property and it's not zoned for mobile home. That's not what the variance is for. A variance is not if they go by a piece of property and it's residential and they thought it was commercial. I'm sorry, that's not our problem. And so what we need to do is make sure we position ourselves so we can operate the most efficient way possible. And I think because of the number of applications we are seeing, I know there may not be a lot, but there are a lot of other things we're handling as well. If we take a deep dive and look at this, look at our mobile homes and see whether or not this existing map is good, does it need to be changed? Can we accept it, officially accept it? If we can't, if we need to modify it, we need to modify it. And then everybody be on the same sheet of music. And then look at this ECU. We want to continue to use this ECU. To me, it's just a whole nother level of policing that we have to do. So those are two of my concerns.
And I think you're right on that, but I guess where we're seeing it at a lot is when it comes to y'all as a board, a planning and zoning board, with the variances, even though they may not be hardships, a lot of them come to us recommended approval, even if it's not really a hardship. If somebody bought a piece of property, didn't know the zoning, yeah, that's unfortunate, and I feel sorry for the guy or lady whoever did that, but that's not a planning and zoning issue or city councilors. That's more of a personal issue as far as they need to do better inspection, better process of figuring out the land. It's not so we don't, recommended approval on that isn't good for us to receive as councilmen, from the planning and zoning, or a bunch of conditional uses, like you said, policing the conditional uses. I mean, that makes it harder and complicated for the city to manage, which some of them are good ideas, but you can't ever tell if the lady's still living in the house or if she's going to turn it into a rental a year or two from now, and then it's a rental property. So, I mean, that's another long-term issue you may have. But so, I think, I guess that the hardships need to be really hardships, and, if I don't know where we go with that, but I don't really consider that a hardship, with property being bought and it not being the proper way, and then they got to just go put a mobile home on them because they end up with the property. So, but yeah, that's another issue there. So,
Andre, could you go over just briefly, because I don't want to get the language confused, about the expanded conditional use as being a part of rezoning versus the variance of maybe the front street-facing entrance or a setback with the hardship attached to it? Can we run through those?
Well, if you're going to allow a mobile home not in an area that's already zoned for that, it really needs to come up as an expanded conditional use and not a variance, because Ron's right, it doesn't meet the traditional definition. So however has been happening.
They haven't been coming up as variances. They come up as expanded conditional uses.
Yes, so they need to be expanded conditional uses. It's important because, I say it's important because the process for an expanded conditional use is the same process as a rezoning. And that's good because that gives notice to all the people in the area, so they have an opportunity to come forward and say, it's okay or it's not okay, or whatever comment, yes, whatever.
It also puts limitations.
Yes, it allows you to also place restrictions or limitations on the expanded nature of the use, but they need to come up as expanded conditional uses and not the thought that it's a variance. It's an expanded conditional use.
Andre, can you tell us about the proposed mobile home sites? If we were to adopt as is, add more, is this like an overlay? I mean, and the reason I ask this is my hesitation is I don't think it's appropriate, you tell me if I'm wrong, to basically spot zone, be like, here's a new zoning category for these that have mobile homes. Because when I look at this map, it's all over the place. So how do we impose that new zoning allowance without rezoning these properties.
It's an expansion, not a restriction. So you're allowing people to do things, not restricting people from doing things. So if you grant and say, these are appropriate areas for a mobile home, you're not restricting it, which is different, you're allowing it. So it's really, it's the opposite of overlay, because overlay, you think of placing more restrictions,
Okay.
but this would be an allowance.
So it's just like an ordinance, we do it by an ordinance?
Yes,
Okay.
you'd have to by ordinance. Yes, and then I will tell you, once you put that down, you could still change it.
Can you,
Expand
can
it to
anybody
the-
speak to why this hasn't been done? Obviously, there was a lot of work put into finding these proposed mobile home sites, but why wasn't it finalized? Was it not politically popular or something?
The council just didn't
That's
want.
basically the reason why we have such a problem. It's a problem for council members when a constituent in your specific area wants a mobile home there. So generally, send it to the planning and zoning, and then we'll vote on it as a council. The easiest fix is what Ron said. Let's go ahead and decide on where y'all want it in your prospective districts. Set it, and that's it.
And you don't
Either
vary
you
from
can
it.
have a mobile home there, and it makes it easier for the council members to say, this is where you can have it. You can't have it anyplace other than
No,
this.
I agree with that. I'm concerned, what I'm
Well, why
confused
it
about is
hadn't been
why
done?
no one passed what was, the work was put in for it. What are we missing?
I think what the mayor said, it was a kind of a uncertainty about making something concrete, because they didn't want to commit, wanted to do it case by case.
Okay.
Kind of what I think initially happened. I'll give you a good example. Lamar Marshall, when he first started, was against mobile homes. And that's when it really started to try to get this thing crystallized in certain areas. Political pressure, whatever you call it, it started changing, and then he even started voting for the variances. So you need to make a conscious decision of what you really want, and, we can do whatever you like, set these zones, and that's it, but stick by it.
So it looks like only about 60 total in 5 years roughly, permits were issued for mobile homes. These are all of them, the spreadsheets that we got. I wanted to make sure I had that
Past
right.
5 years.
Past 5 years, about 60, I guess, roughly. And some were, I guess, already in the zoned areas.
36. 36 have been issued.
Okay, let's see. Expanded conditional use, okay, that's that, and this mobile home permits issue.
Right, they still, yeah, so Amanda is eloquently stating, they still have to apply for the mobile home permit. So this
Yeah.
is your actual list of the permits that have come through.
Okay,
This is a list of basically the exceptions that had to get an expanded conditional use approved by
I
both,
got you.
by the city council to be placed.
That's kind of why I was
So
asking for
then
this.
these came into
Okay,
this.
I got you. That's kind of why I was asking, because it sounds like a lot every day we up here, so that's why I wanted to kind of look at, see exactly how many mobile home permits and,
Some go through the rezoning that never get a permit and never go through with the
Okay.
home because something falls through with finance or, so you needed to see both sides.
exactly. Okay, that makes sense. All right.
The other thing I would say, if we get to a point where we can define, we can accept one of these maps, let's say the proposed area map, and come to agreement as to how that looks, and if someone comes into the permit office and say, I want to apply for a permit for a mobile home, and it falls outside of that map, then what?
Yeah.
Generally, what happens is positive pressure from a constituent to a council member saying they'd like to review it. It comes to them, it goes to the council, and it gets passed, negative, positive too.
Well, Bobby did mention something earlier about a case by case. Y'all dealt with it case by case. Nothing was adopted, nothing was official concrete, which I think here we are right now. Why we have that issue is because we pretty much need a concrete definition to where we can alleviate that case by case and just have it on paper. What's if it's required, is a mobile home allowed or not allowed, and not case by case, no gray areas. And I think that would help out everybody a lot. Just stick to it.
Yeah, I was really not shocked, but a little shocked. I had my assistant, my executive assistant, call the city of Mandeville. I said, call the city of Mandeville and tell them you want to get a permit for a mobile home. The lady said, not allowed. She said, well, is there a process we can go through to get it allowed? Not allowed.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, what's the biggest problem you have as council members? Is it someone that's outside of, do you get calls saying, hey, my grandparents have this lot, I put a mobile home on it, I need to get a permit, I already purchased it. Is that an issue? Have y'all had these issues in your districts?
Well, that's pretty much a lot of the issues that we've noticed come through here was they were saying they bought a piece of property and didn't know it was zoning, so I was thinking about that earlier. I don't know really what better process we can do to educate people on that, but you can't get to everybody. You can tell the mobile home parks and make ordinance in Hammond City that they have to require them to go check before they sell it to a mobile home, but they may buy them outside of the city, they may buy a used one or whatever. So I don't really know what way the city or anybody could do a process that would help people to go check out if the land is zoned for mobile home or not, if they're just dealing directly with a property owner and buying something and going to the mobile home park. The mobile home dealer's not going to care. They're going to sell them the properties and they get stuck with it. That's not my purpose.
So ultimately, it's your decision.
Yeah.
That's why it ends up going through the process we do, even though you don't particularly like it. It's the vote of the council that's going to approve or not approve it.
I think back to what we were saying, once a map is adopted, send that map to the mobile home dealers.
Yeah.
Here's the area that mobile homes can be.
Yep.
That's allowed, period.
Yep. Yeah.
We've educated them, we've educated dealers in the past, they're not gonna relinquish their privilege of selling a mobile home.
That's
It's the responsibility of the buyer
Yeah.
to make sure they're informed.
But it covers us, I guess, as a city, knowing that we did everything that we could do, and we gave it to them. We know about it. We announced this is our new deal. Maybe write some up in the paper, do everything we can, and and that's all we can do.
I understand it does cover you, but they say ignorance is not an excuse, but some people still don't understand that, and they probably still buy this and they still come before you.
Yeah.
Like the gentleman on the Uranda Road where most of this is started, and we hear what they have to say. We just make a recommendation, and we leave it up to you, because we just go by what we have, the information we have. So, it's hard to tell a person it's a mobile home right behind you, and then you come up to say, well, no, but we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would like to see planning and zoning go. And I think we started a process a few weeks ago with the gentleman with the metal building. He stood up and said, well, I'm going to punch you. I said, I don't care. We have to start somewhere. If not, we keep making excuses and allowing. Let's wrap our hands around areas that we all feel across the board, all the council individuals in the council and administration feel that these areas are areas that would suffice a mobile home. And if these brown shaded areas are the areas, or we need to expand it a little bit more or whatever, I think that's the first step. Let's do that. And then from there, we just got to stick to it.
Yeah.
And I say that because I can't bring a mobile home into DDD.
No. No.
I don't think it's going to even come to planning and zoning.
No. You have to start raising your standards.
Can't bring a mobile home into my subdivision where I live. Almost.
Yeah, almost, but we got it fixed,
Got
so.
it fixed because we need to take a look at our maps, because there could be other areas like we had at the entrance of Villa West.
Yeah.
That will allow certain things that may not fall under the restrictive governance of that area.
And you may take some out, but then you may add to another area that's more,
Yeah, we just need to make sure we do some house cleaning on our own and make sure we cover those areas. So to me, that's just step one.
I'm curious. I haven't had a constituent in District 2 need ask for a mobile home, and I think it's only happened once for you, Steve. I'm not sure how many times, Sam, but Councilman Wells, do you have an opposition to to trying to do it like this, where it's proposed mobile home area. I don't know if we get community input. I mean, I wish Kip was here because I know it's in his district too. But, you know, I feel like it's very district centric, right? The members who are seeing it all the time, they're the ones who their opinion matters the most in how this should go.
So, yeah, I guess, yeah, do we feel comfortable as far as councilmen and women looking at our districts and reviewing the maps and making a recommendation for the mobile homes, expanding, keeping it the same, allowing where they are now, as councilman, getting with the planning and zoning or administration, not getting some maps and looking at the footprint? Do y'all feel comfortable looking at y'all's district?
I mean, I can look at it right now and
Yeah.
tell you I'm good. There's
And-
there's
okay.
nothing in
tell you.
District 2.
And I can too, there's no place.
Okay,
There aren't any in 5 or 2.
okay,
Right.
okay,
But that's why I'm saying I'd rather hear from the council members who
okay,
this affects.
okay. What about you, Councilman Wells?
Yeah, I have a lot to say, but I don't want to say it all right now.
And just a history on what happened, the zoning, prior to 1999, they put a moratorium, they halted all permitting of mobile homes at the time. And this is where all this came from. They were allowing them in the least restricted residential zoning district, which was R4 at the time. R4 and then the rural areas of RS. So RS and R4 were the only two zonings that allowed mobile homes. Prior to the change of the zoning restriction of RS, R4 is where these proposed areas are currently. When the zoning was changed to only allow it for RS, that eliminated the continuous placement of mobile homes in those districts. And that's why you have the proposed areas, which were slightly changed from the heavy areas of where the mobile homes were being placed.
So District 5 and District 2, y'all have none allowed anywhere in the district? Okay,
That's correct.
okay.
So what's the right time to talk about it? You want us to get all of the proposed areas laid out in a
They
big
are.
map? I'm talking about big enough,
We need to add to it
laid out,
probably.
so you can see it clearly, and what do you think?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I agree with you, because the problem is with me right now, this is so small, and I'm looking at Mooney Avenue. I see Mooney Avenue going in one direction. Then when I flip the map over, it's going in another direction. And so that what got me confused. And then I'm looking at doing some overlay in District 3, period. Because we got too many people that's building homes in District 3. Be exact, right on the east side of Washington Avenue. And so if they building houses on the east side of Washington Avenue, I can't allow mobile homes to come back over there, you know. Even the ones that's there, I still can't let a mobile home come back in that spot, you know. It really have to be a hardship. But other than that, because if you look at the price of mobile homes and the price of houses, but I think what the city need to do, instead of just saying no to a mobile home, let's look at some type of grant where we can kind of help them, you know, give them an incentive to get a house, $1,000, $2,000. I think we need to start looking more in that direction. And I think that'll help out a lot. And just in case don't nobody know, this is what take place. It's easy to get a mobile home. You can send a letter to the dealership all you want. I got a car lot and I don't have no tires on the car. You want to buy that car, I'm gonna sell it to you. And that's what's going on with the mobile homes. They gonna sell it to them. They know don't no mobile homes going in Hammond, but in the meantime, we got salesmen in the city of Hammond that's selling mobile homes. So it's really a conflict.
And the other issue is mobile homes immediate. Buy it, it gets set. Building a house, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Remodeling a house, the same thing. So what you're saying is correct. It's a quick fix. The amount of money you're spending sometimes is as much to build a house. But you can get the thing set on a lot the next week.
Yeah, so that's what we're going through, because now, I see, I can even say it now. On Kansas Street, a guy bought a house, and now we look, and he brought it to my attention. I didn't have no idea. somebody trying to place a mobile home there. And he having a fit. And I said, well, man, let me look more into it. On Kansas Street, they only have one mobile home on Kansas Street, and nobody even stay there. You know, due to the storm, we had a tree to fall on it. Other than that, we have all houses on Kansas Street. So even with the realtors, they selling the land, not actually telling the people the truth that you can't put a mobile home there. They selling the property, then it come up before planning and zoning. And then once they sit there and do their approve or don't approve it, then it come before us, the city council. So a lot of time, that's what I have to do. I need to look more into this here to see how we gonna do this in District 3. But a good portion of District 3, we gonna do the overlay. Cause I listened to the other two city councilmen, you know, and they already know what they want. Whether you buy the land today or tomorrow, no. So it don't make sense for everybody to treat their area like gold, and we treat my area like garbage. So I think we need to do the same around the board, because I was looking at Lincoln Park, you know, and it's in Sam area. How could you tell one of them no when it's trailers all through there? So, you know, this is a decision that is on Sam, and in your district, that decision should be on you. So that's what we looking at, because Andre, I definitely want to get with you on that overlay, because we need to protect the area more and what's going on. And calling them, I heard you, Mr. Matthews, and at one time I would agree with that. It's easy to tell somebody no, you know, but a lot of times, look at the person who telling them no. That's what scares me. I asked a long time ago when I first got up here, we had some type of record. When everybody go to the building permit office, we can easily go back and say, okay, 5 people was told no on getting a mobile home. That's what I like to do, have accountability of everything taking place. And so we would actually know, because if they see Colin, in which, you know, Colin and I, we stay in the same area, they'll talk to Colin, and Colin might say, well, man, I really don't know. Then find out it's Colin's cousin, he's still trying to work with him. Say, man, I don't know, get with Councilman Wells. And then once I get with him and find out he can to Colin, say, man, that's a bad area, but let's see what I can do. See, these are things that we go through in our area. You know, it become more personal than actually saying no. So that's what I'd be afraid of. But having a map where we can actually see, even in the audience, they don't see what we're looking at. And if we had a bigger map where everybody can see, then we can understand. Because I looked at MC Moore Road, and it's a great portion there of mobile homes. You know, be exact, what, 2 parks?
Yes, those were, as I say, those were the areas prior to the 2000 that was owned properly for mobile home placement. Had a heavy fluctuation.
Yeah. And then in District 3, we actually have 3 or 4 mobile home parks, right?
Right.
Yeah, so see, and these guys got mobile home park, and Bobby will tell you know that, excuse me, they not even filled up. So we started letting trailers come, but we got these guys got these parks, which is a rental fee, you know, with somebody looking at buying a mobile home and putting it on a lot that grandmother left that had a house there. We just have so many issues in District 3 when it comes to mobile home, and we're gonna have to put the brakes on it.
Well, I guess that kind of pretty much, you know, makes it simple there. I mean, it looks like every councilman should pretty much look at their map of mobile homes, where they're zoned at, where they're not zoned at, review it. If we can get the map with, you know, showing exactly where they're at, look at it, blow it up big, and, you know, and then try to figure out with their community if we need to enlarge it, reduce it, and get something concrete on paper and go from there.
Okay.
Carly and Steve, y'all pretty much they're not allowed at all in any of them, so that's an easy one for y'all.
I'll address the overlay. That's one reason why it's easy for me to say we don't do mobile homes, is because the citizens put in the work decades ago putting these in. And to be clear, it's the citizens that put it in. I had nothing to do with it. I'm glad they're there. But that's the people in the neighborhood saying they didn't want certain things, including mobile homes. The other option, if you're looking for an easy way to say no, is to say no mobile homes. I mean, Ron said that that's something that Mandeville and Covington do. I'm not proposing that, but again, I don't have mobile homes in my district, so I'm just throwing that out there. If you want an easy way to say no, then you have none of them. So, yeah, I think this map would be great to see. In addition to where it's already zoned for a proposed area is where they actually have them. I know that might be difficult to do. You might need some time to put it up there, but there's a lot of spots that we put them right outside the boundary of that proposed spot. So it would be helpful for, I'm sure, the council members who need to determine whether their proposed area needs to get bigger to see that there's a mobile home 2 blocks over and whatnot.
Well, I would like to at least try to get a time frame on getting the map and reviewing the map and so we can come back together. So how much time we need to do that? How much time, give all the council time to do what they need to do?
I think we can get the maps done fairly quickly because we just need to find a different way to change the colors on, and we can put it all together on one instead of the 2 separate sheets.
Yeah.
We tried to put them where you could take them and print easily, but we can print them all on a big sheet so that you can have it and look at it in detail.
And I think if you just do, say like District 3.
Right.
I don't have to look at everybody.
Everybody's,
I'm just
right.
looking at District 3 only. So we do it like that.
We can do that.
That'll help out a lot.
And I think, if I'm hearing everybody correctly, you would like one map that shows the existing mobile home parks, which is one of our layers. The second one that has the proposed areas, and we can shade those differently so that you can see the differences. Because the proposed areas, Bobby, if I'm hearing you right, were where there was kind of a mix of mobile homes there. Right, yeah. And then we could also put on that RS11A. That way, if there was any little spots missed, that would also be on that. So that could be on one map, is basically everything that's kind of existing in some way. And then the second map could show where these are, we can plat all these on a map.
Yeah.
Why can't we put on a board as big as that shade over there, 4 foot high, 3 foot high, whatever, doesn't have to be as wide. The district, as Vaughn's saying, with the areas that are in the zoning, the areas that are proposed, and where they have other trailers throughout the district. So you can look at one piece and see the whole district with every trailer that's there.
That's what I want on my district.
I think that's what you said, just bigger. You're saying bigger, yeah.
No.
Like this, and look, put it on a board.
I just want a big map, like a scale
like
print, a
big
blueprint. I want a
blueprint
blueprint
size.
map, a
Right.
blueprint map of District
Yeah.
4 and showing that.
I have a question for the sitting in the audience. Are you here for or against trailers?
Well, I'm just looking at this map right here, and Mr. Leon area, District 5, it's a lot of empty space. You don't want no trailers and none of that empty space.
No, sir. And it's not me, it's my constituents. And they were very clear about that, and clear about that prior to me being elected here. And I've talked to past councilmen, and that is just, the constituents in my district are not in favor of any mobile homes.
Okay, which area is your district? I'm just curious.
Over there by Southeastern.
By southeastern for the most part, yeah.
And then I know where downtown, if they gonna put trailers, they need to put them everywhere. And I say put some for the trailer park over there, buddy.
So are you against the mobile homes or for them?
If they gonna put them, I say put them in every district in the trailer park. If you gonna put them, put every district. Like, Councilman Wells, he said it's smart. Trailers are expensive right now. I just seen a $300,000 trailer. To keep people from getting trailers, hey, let's go give them a grant. Give them $1,000, $2,000 from moving or rental to their house.
I look at it like this, a lot of areas, you let mobile homes move in there. Yeah, they might last maybe 10 years max, or they would deteriorate, okay? That brings the price value down. Yeah, of course, you don't want them over there because you know what it's gonna do over there. So, I'm with him, like, hey, spread them out. What's the difference now? I'm quite sure they got land over there somewhere, you know? I bought some property where they dumped off. Can I put them? Maybe. I don't know. some of it is out the city limit, some of it is in. I never thought about it because it was always a hassle when you come here and say, hey, well, I want to do this here. Just like y'all say. People tell you, oh, well, we don't know what it's on for, or you don't know what it's on for. So, I don't know. It just.
One of the keys you said, which is true, is the longevity of what a mobile home lasts. They don't.
So I'm just saying, I see it that they just want to put them in certain areas to keep that price tag down over there.
Yeah, don't keep the price back, keep the price back down there.
Well, I think right now, what we're discussing right now is if we should expand, should we use it, should we not? You know, do we keep them around? Do we not? Do we ban, just say no mobile homes at all? And then on the council here with the 5 districts, two of them are not allowed in those districts. So it's obviously there's, you know, some discussion, but really the ones that are most, have an issue right now would be, you know, 3 districts, my district, Councilman Andrews and Councilman Wells. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So,
Just keep it in mind, everybody can afford $200,000.
yeah. Does anybody else in the audience have anything to say? They want to raise a hand? Okay, yes, ma'am. You. Okay, there you go.
First of all, good evening. I don't know if we're following the same requisites about address and name and everything. And second of all, congratulations to everybody. Same council, new day. I want to say this real quick. From your community development plan for your housing needs for Hammond. We have a poverty level in Hammond that is 32%. Among all adults over the age of 25, 19% have yet to earn a high school diploma or its equivalent. Among black residents, this rate is over 24%. I understand what everybody is saying. I understand what everybody is saying. I understand what you guys are saying. Citizens made a decision a long time ago. I understand what he's saying. Some people say it brings down the aesthetics of the neighborhood. But I also understand that we have 30% of the people in Hammond are under the poverty level. I heard you guys say, well, you know, they don't last. They may not last 10 years. I hear all this information overlaid. But what I really would like to ask, I had a lot of stuff I was going to say, but I'm not going to say any of it now. I'm going to keep perusing that Brown study that you mentioned, because I'm looking at that right now. There's a study that shows that if you have an economically challenged portion of your city, city planners and city administrators must have a way to house everybody. I'm glad for Collins District, Councilman's District, I'm glad that they don't want them, they don't need them. I'm glad for your district that you don't want them and you don't need them. But I talk to people every day who do. And respectfully, Mayor, because you know, I don't ever want to disrespect you, but the price of a manufactured home, it's less than trying to get a home, get land, and get it built. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to table all the thoughts I had. And the only thing I want to ask tonight of the mayor, the CAO, and the council is this, and planning and zoning is this. I hear y'all throwing around a lot of stuff. I brought some notes, you know. I hear y'all throwing, well, you know, it's not my problem, you know, whatever, and all. I hear y'all throwing around a lot of things. But respectfully, you are elected for the people. You have some hurting people. You got a lot of people. You got a lot of people who are hurting. Now, as for me, I'm economically disadvantaged and challenged myself. But I'm going to win, right? I'm going to win one way or another. I'm not even worried about me. I speak for a lot of people who have no voice. Some of the things that some coalitions who are trying to help them have been doing is trying to see about at least manufactured homes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the community and I'm going to go get some signatures and we want to change some statutes. Because when you throw these things around like, you know, this, are you listening to your words and how the people hear your words? How the people hear your words? Because just at the last meeting, Councilman, you said, hey, you know, it's not my problem, it's not personal, about the mobile home. I know you probably didn't intend it in that way, but I teach people to watch city council meetings. I teach them that government is yours. You should have a part in what's going on. So as I'm watching with them, sometimes I'm astounded. I never changed my faith because I deal with so many people out here who tell me stuff so horrible. I've learned to keep my faith. But when you're speaking about these things, please remember that you're speaking about people, your people, not just your individual districts, but Hammond as a whole. And I'm excited because I'm always hopeful. I think this is going to be a good year for Hammond. I think we're going to be able to work together, do a lot of things. But I'm going to table my comments. I'm going to table my comments. And whenever you guys get the math and get back to the next meeting, and I'll be back. But I'm going to go home and I'm going to go study some more. Because you can't discount a whole people because you don't want your neighborhood. And that's not even true, actually. Aesthetically, that's not even true. Because the way they're manufacturing the homes now, that's not even true. I can see if you want to, say, well, we're going to do some restrictions. You must put it down on a concrete pad, some of these things. I understand modifications and all of that, but just don't discount a people. And Mayor, I know you're going to remember this. Last year, the bond said, for Councilman Wells said something while I was speaking. He said, the mayor doesn't understand. I don't think anybody understands the people that I deal with every day. I don't think any, because I don't hear them represented, is why I say that. I don't hear them represented in what you're saying. So, respectfully, I hear what everybody says. I'm not just standing here to disagree with anybody or anything like that. I know you all have the jobs to do, you're elected to do jobs. I appreciate the job that you do. I'm excited about a good year. We're going to be able to do some things, work together and have a great year. But just please, just be mindful. When we're speaking about people. We're speaking about people. And then people like me who just lost everything, I lost everything. I retired, took my 401k and paid off everything I owed. Didn't owe not one bill. Not one bill. And thought I was like, ooh, 100% ministry now, 100% advocacy now. And lost everything. So when you're speaking about people, right? And so, I'm going to leave because, I'm going to come back. I'm going to go study this.
Thank you. But I just wanted to say, I think we're all here because we all care about what's going on, because that's why we're having this meeting here tonight, and that's why we're spending time right now discussing it. So, but anyway, I appreciate your comments. Anyone else has their hand up or need to say anything in the audience? Hold on. Somebody in the back? Good. Thank you.
I think this is a long time coming for Hammond. And I think that you should dress your areas in color in certain areas. Nobody wants to move a home next to a $300,000 house, $70,000 mobile home. I'm sure of that. I'm in the mobile home business. So what I'm telling you is that you should let the people decide on certain areas and let the community decide if it should be done. Instead of we sit here in the council and say no, then we're going to fight against people that's going to want to take you to the board. And what you do about that person? Then you got to say, well, then up to that is the community.
Yeah.
So your community needs to get together and decide what the constituents is in their neighborhood and how they care about their neighborhood. And the mobile home business don't always thrive. But what you should do also, since you don't like them that much, is raise the tax dollars on them in the city limits and outside the city limits. Nobody wants them because the tax dollars is at a low minimum. That's why we want houses and apartments, because of the tax dollars. So, to minimize that, raise the taxes a little bit on them, make the requirements a little stiffer on how they should be in certain areas. It's gonna have to come to what y'all are saying on the council meeting. It's gotta come to that because of the growth that's going on in Hammond and the type of growth and the type of people you're trying to accept. So with that being said, it don't minimize it to one area and just because that's over there in that area. Put a requirement to that. Put a color code on your maps. This the area in red over here, this the area in green over here, this the area in blue to the credit to the bank, a 600 beacon score won't get a house. A 675 and above will get a house. But when you go to that mobile home place, on your beacon score, a 585 will get you a house. Why the banks do that? It's crazy, because some of those mobile homes is $102,000. And in your same area, $102,000 house at 585, you do not qualify. So that's forcing people to come and spot that in your area. Yes, city, you're gonna have to do something about it. Definitely. You're gonna have to definitely decide what area or what district. But council member, because you don't want a mobile home and you don't want a mobile home side your house, then you're gonna make this area blighted, and you gotta watch that. And that's when it's gonna have to come down to the community to decide that. It should be, that's what I say.
What's the general life on a mobile home since you built them? 20?
20 years, but they've been out here 40 years. It's all up to the individual. You got some nasty people.
Well, the plan is to do just what you were saying, what we talked about. The maps get drawn up, the council members look at it, as a public hearing, the public comes in and looks at it as well. So the public's gonna be involved. The point is, my lifetime saving, I'm a contractor. I personally don't think that they're built as well as normal houses. The 2x4 structure isn't a 2x4, and most of them, it's a 2x2, something to that. But that being said, that's just a disagreement between you and I. The point is, 20 years, I'm saving my lifetime to have a home for the rest of my life, and in 20 years, after I've worked half my life in a job, what's my house gonna be? What's my mobile home gonna be worth? Now, you just mentioned, and you may be right, if someone takes care of it, it can last 40 years, I guess, is what you were trying to say. Anyway, we're gonna have the maps, and the public will be involved. I'm sure the council members will make sure that happens as well.
And that's why we're here tonight. Nobody's sitting here saying no or yes. We're sitting evaluating all the information and seeing where we need to go at with everything with mobile homes. So, but anyway, anybody else in the audience that has anything else to say? All right, go ahead. One more time, go ahead.
All right, you said Mandeville and Covington, right? Don't allow them, right?
Mr. Ron, right here at the Planning and Zoning Board.
You know why? Because they got a program where you do so many months or something and they help you build a house. That's why. Do Hammond do that? No.
Yeah.
It's a program they got. That's why they don't have a Look at that.
We did have a program in the past that helped through home buyer education and financial fitness classes. You had to pass through both of those, and then you could actually receive a grant for to go towards a down payment on a home.
So what happened with that?
We only had one person qualify after about 200 or so went through the program because they didn't have a high enough credit score.
Oh, so they have to be credit score.
Well, to qualify for a house, yeah. Yeah, that was the purpose of the financial fitness, was to try to get their credit score up to a certain point, but we just, we couldn't make grants out of it, so.
Yeah, now you talking about help the credit. That's what a pastor need to come in at. Tell the pastor help them with their credit. That ain't our job to help them with the credit. So it just, and it's getting out of hand like my man say. And I'm glad you're here. You're in the mobile home business. A contractor, a realtor, so everybody in business, and don't nobody want their business hurt. But in the meantime, I have a mobile home by my house. I have no problem with it. Whatever they need, I'll do whatever I can. But in the meantime, it's not fair for nobody to have a $300,000 house and a mobile home come there. And you're going to always eat, because if you're not moving a new mobile home, you can move an old one. So you're going to always eat, and you can always repair them. But in order for us to move forward and to make Hammond better, we have to slow it down. Your feelings gonna get hurt. I heard the lady say she lost everything. People lose things all the time, but life still go on. And so what I'm doing, I make a decision based on Hammond and District 3, and I'm gonna continue to do that. So, but
I'll just say this, just to add on, time frame on our maps. Again, I'd like to nail that down.
Yeah.
What's time frame on the maps to the councilman?
I think we can get that done within a week.
Okay, get that done in a weekend. How much time, council, you all need to review and get your constituents and all that.
Give me 1 month.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're talking 30 days, so let's try to schedule another joint meeting. After that, say another 45 days, let's schedule a joint meeting. Secondly, I think we need to look at our calendars and try to schedule a joint meeting to possibly discuss multifamily. We have a lot of discussions going on with that. I think the moratorium has been extended. We need to start addressing the issues with the moratorium aggressively, and that would take another session, but let us work together. I have some things, some notes I want to share, what I think we should do, could possibly do. I'll forward it to Councilman DiVittorio, and he can share with the rest of the council. And then let's schedule a time to revisit in the near future relative to the multifamily as well. I think the joint meetings are good. I think we get a little more organized with them. They'd be better. There's a whole lot of issues that I think the city needs. As we grow, there are going to be more and more issues come up. I think we need to look at signage, how we want our signage to be, our sign ordinance. It needs to be tightened up. Landscaping needs to be tightened up. We have a numerous of things that we can address. Absent of a city planner, I think that's something that I know this administration is looking at. That would be a tremendous help to the city. We have a full-time city planner. I don't know what it would take to make that happen, but I think that process needs to start sooner than later. And so we all can kind of weigh in on that. And I have a couple applications that I'm going to forward to you that I think are outstanding planners that would welcome the opportunity to sit and visit to discuss being the city planner for the city of Hammond. Urban planning, city planning is the thing to do. You have to do it with the growth of a city like Hammond. If we don't plan right, we're not going to grow right. So I think there's a couple of things we need to do. So I welcome the opportunity for us to schedule a second meeting of this joint session, and then a follow-up meeting of like kind for multifamily as well.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. Yes, I mean, I guess to wrap things up, we can, once you get the maps to us, if y'all have any delays or whatnot, let's just figure out once they get to us, and then we can review and maybe set by email. Everybody can email a next meeting that we can work for everybody like we did for this one, and we can look over the map once we get it a month later. That'll kind of start working towards the mobile home issue. Is everybody good with that on the council?
Yep.
And then as far as the city planner goes, what is the process y'all working on right now with getting one? Where are we at with that? It's been a year.
We are actively recruiting. We have placed it on multiple job boards. We have contacted UNO, which has an urban planning program. We've contacted University of Louisiana Lafayette. We have talked to them several times, each about, do you have anybody? Do you have any alumni? Do you have anybody looking? We have networked on the American Planning Association website. We've posted the job ad there as well. So all I can say is that we're not the only ones looking for a city planner. We've literally had 0 applicants since over the last 6 months, I guess now. 0.
Maybe we just
I don't
need
think you have to go nowhere. Mr. Matthews said he got several people. so.
That's the first I've heard that we have people who are
Oh, okay.
interested, so I look forward to getting those
Yes.
very much. I would
send them on in.
welcome
That goes
not
to the
doing
end
this
right
job
there.
anymore.
It gets down to what you're willing to pay.
send them on in.
That's what I was just kind of signaling it over to Sam. A little bit of it could be about money.
It's about money.
When you're not-
Gotta be what you're willing to pay. 'Cause
Right.
Well, I don't even think the position is advertised with a salary right now.
Well, if we're not getting applicants, nobody's talking about money, so I don't know
That's
how we're
correct.
talking about money. I mean, we
I
have
don't-
0 applicants, so discussion of salaries hadn't even been in play.
I bet you start getting some applications.
Not if it's an
I
open
don't think we
end,
have that problem no more. Mr. Matthews got 2 people, so we're not gonna have no problem. Don't worry about no money. Hammond got some money.
Yeah.
If you poor, you poor.
Yeah.
But Hammond got some money.
Anybody else has anything to say?
I just wanted to add in, the Housing Authority is going to present to, the consultant for the Housing Committee is going to report to us on February 14th. I'm not sure if y'all got a sneak preview of that report, but we did, and there's a lot in there for planning and zoning to consider, so hopefully y'all can hear that presentation and review the report. And that'll probably fit in well with our next joint sessions.
All right, anything else anybody wants to add? Meeting, motion to,
I just want to thank the council and administration for having this meeting. I think it's really good. This is the type of, what's the word? Atmosphere we would like to see.
Is this a meeting that I get paid for or what?
Oh,
'Cause,
you get paid for this one.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
I want to thank everyone for having us and having this meeting.
make a motion to adjourn?
Second.